Powered by Red Media in partnership with TSN, it is season 6 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, and it is presented by our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey. All season long, we've been asking, have you tried the Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof? Do it immediately. Invite your senses to an elevated Canadian whiskey experience only with Canadian Club. And there it is for our YouTube people, for those who follow us as we stream on my X account, Ray. That wallpaper is...
You love this wallpaper, don't you?
It's Boston, man. It just screams of Boston, doesn't it?
Yeah, Detroit and Boston tonight. And so, yeah, this wallpaper is pretty distinctive, man. It's like, been here a lot. So we're in first game in Boston this year.
Yeah, looking forward to it. See what is going on with the mighty Bruins, whether or not they're headed in that direction that they were counting on when they let you Montgomery go and slid Gossack cool over a few feet.
Yeah, but Dregs, it's two teams the same, isn't it? Kind of like,
yeah.
You know, like Derek Lalonde, Detroit's coach, said that we just can't get any traction. And I kind of feel like that's both teams. They win a couple, they slide back a bit. Now, be interesting, Detroit's down to Ville Husso in goal. Both Alex Lyon and Cam Talbot are out. And so, you know, it's another thing to deal with. Kane won't play tonight. And the Bruins are coming off that big win on their centennial game. That was pretty cool to see. Really awesome to see the way they celebrate their history. And best part for me was one of my favorite players as a kid. Well, Bobby Orr was my favorite, so Bobby was there, but was seeing Johnny Busick there, and so I loved. I think it was Marchand went over to kind of offer an arm to help him, and Johnny kind of shrugs him off. He's like, "Nah, I got it," and he went out on his own. It was so great, and just a real gentleman of the game. Just a fantastic man.
So you mentioned Brad Marchand, and so here's your homework assignment going into this game. I don't know if he'll have his bucket off around you, but Paul Bissonnette chirped him the other night on TNT, asking him if he was in Turkey for the hair augmentation.
Right.
And as soon as he said it, Ray, I'm like, ooh, there might be something to this. But then, of course,
good for him. Good for him. By the way, do you think I'm going to evaluate anyone's hair?
Well, I don't know. But you do observe. You pay attention.
Yeah, but it would be like me saying, "Oh, I don't think that guy got a very good nose job. Look at this thing." Like that's.
Well, how about Marshy though? Right, that was a comeback chirp of a long time when he's like, "Yeah, I want to look like the guys that beat the wheels off you the other day."
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'll tell you. But isn't it funny? All those those years now he's been in Boston and how he's evolved into the stature of person and personality in the organization that he is. It's carried on from Chara to with Mark Recchi and then Bergeron, and it's pretty cool. He is an entertaining guy though.
He is born to be a Bruin in so many different ways. Yeah. So, all right, Ray, let's get into headlines. And among some of the stuff that's going on around the National Hockey League, obviously we're going to talk about the New York Rangers. But as we teed up in our last episode, we're going to take a look at what our projected Team Canada looks like. We've got Bill Guerin of the Minnesota Wild, who's also the head of Team USA for the upcoming Four Nations face-off, also joining us later this week on Ray and Dregs. So a couple of things to talk about with Billy. Obviously, we'll know what Team USA's roster is, but like this Minnesota Wild team, I mean, I guess as advertised, maybe a little bit better than what we expected, but good team all around.
I think better. I think next year's the year for Minnesota they're going to have, the cap's going to go up.
Yep.
They're finally going to be out of those buyouts, like the dead money that they've got on their cap. I think they've done an amazing job.
I'm with
you. And Bill has made some significant trades that have really worked out for them.
Yeah.
And he made another big one this week. And so he's not shy.
No.
And and the Wild they're an entertaining team. I mean, I know a lot of people probably don't see them very much, but man, that Kirill Kaprizov is one hell of a player, and he is worth the price. That guy.
All right, well, that's coming up in headlines brought to us by Tim Hortons. Backed by popular demand, the non-alcoholic lineup of Bailey's flavored items have arrived at Tim's. It includes Bailey's Dream Hot Chocolate, Bailey's Cream Coffee, Bailey's Latte, Bailey's Ice Cap, plus you've got the Bailey's Boston Cream Dream Donut. Say that quickly 5 times, but it's delicious. Stop by your local Tim's for some fun gift ideas as well. Ray, you're a last-minute shopper, December 24th. How about that Tim's-themed ornament? You've got the snow globe, toy delivery truck, the plushies, scented candles, and so much more. Not a lot of holiday cheer around the New York Rangers, but the Rangers are the talk of the National Hockey League. It feels like a ticking time bomb. I mean, a 5-1 loss to the New Jersey Devils Monday night at Madison Square Garden. Panarin and Chytil benched for a stretch early in the hockey game. Now, is it coincidence in your mind, Ray, that this team continues to flounder after their captain, Jake Trouba, and impactful forward Chris Kreider learned that Chris Drury has them on a trade block, or is that all intertwined and connected?
Oh, I don't think there's any question it's interconnected. Prior to that memo going out to the teams, which really, if you're trying to keep it quiet, it is a blunder. Because now you've got 31 leak possibilities. Somebody's telling somebody when that memo comes across. But they had been playing poorly, even though their record, I think at the time they were 12-4-1, something like that. And they were pretty leaky, and their goaltending, both Quick and Shesterkin, had bailed them out a number of times. And that's okay. The goalies are allowed to do that. But it was the way that they were playing that started to be a little bit of uneasiness around their team. Then this memo goes out, and I've been in a few locker rooms. It is impossible to think that didn't send a lightning bolt into the middle of the room. And on a daily, people are talking about it in the room. Sure. I can guarantee it. Nobody's comfortable. You play a bad game, you think it's about you. You get benched. Well, Panarin probably doesn't think that, but it's about you. Am I going to be the one to move? There's no question there in my mind that movement is coming. But in saying that, how do you move these guys? What return are you expecting to get back? If you go back to our first shows of this season, Dregs, we talked about the Rangers. One of the reasons they're so interesting this year is that they had 12 or 13 guys in the last year of their contract.
Yeah.
They're playing poorly. They're not going to have 13 guys at the end of the year coming out of contract because they're going to move some of those guys. Yeah. Like something has to change. What starts as these little brush fires around, pretty soon they're bigger. Ryan Lindgren has not been very good since he came back from his broken jaw. Jacob Trouba has been a mess all year. And I mean, they told him in the summer they don't want him. Mm-hmm. And now he's the captain, and now his name comes out there again. It'd be really, whatever you think of Jacob Trouba as a player, it'd be really hard to play.
Sure it would be. Yeah.
So their defense, Keandre Miller has not had a very good start. So that's half your defense that's up in shambles. They lose Philip Chytil again. Now he's back. Zibanejad has not been a dangerous player 5-on-5 at all the last year and a bit. I think Kreider's got 1 assist on the season. Like Riley Smith, they brought him in a trade, and he got scratched the other night. So there's a lot of things that aren't going very well in New York right now.
Yeah, no kidding. So if we get a little bit more specific to the game on Monday night, so Jack Hughes has a 3-point game. Man, we'll talk about the New Jersey Devils in just a moment because they're rolling right now, and they've got a little bit of bite in their game too, right? And maybe that's a credit to Sheldon Keefe pushing all the right buttons. But Hughes, again, I think he's one of those players. You were probably like that too, even as a Ranger. Just love playing at Madison Square Garden, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of those environments, and Jack definitely feeds off that. But he drew the ire of Rangers analyst Stephen Valiquette for attempting the Forsberg on the breakaway, and former goaltender Valiquette thought this was showmanship. This was Jack Hughes disrespecting an elite goalie in Igor Shesterkin, trying to embarrass him. You know what? In the 80s, okay, maybe, but you're talking about a super high-skilled offensive player in Jack Hughes. I didn't see it that way. Did you? I didn't see it that at all. He's trying to score.
No, I didn't see it at all. I would equate it to when a goalie makes a glove save and they twirl it around their head like they're serving ice cream. Like, does that offend the shooter, or is that just the goalie making the save? He's got a breakaway. This is what I think, and I think he's pissed off that the Rangers are playing poorly. And you wouldn't think so, but there is a frustration. If you're working with a team and they continually aren't playing very well, you feel the frustration too. Like the broadcaster does.
They do.
And I think that's probably a little bit at play. He's a really smart, sharp guy, Valiquette. Like, he is. I really like the way that he presents his information on the air. I think he's great. I was really surprised, and I felt it was more frustration. So, like, is it showmanship if that goal goes in the net? Is it showmanship? Is it showmanship if somebody does the Michigan and it goes in, or it doesn't go in? I mean, I got into a debate with Torts on the air at ESPN about that. What the hell's the difference? How you try to make it go in the net? Who cares? You're just trying to score. He didn't throw a breakaway away trying to be a hot dog. He's trying to score. I don't see it as that at all. I see it as frustration.
Yeah, and Jack post-game, by the way, it's always a tough environment, those post-game scrums, because the players, they're not listening to the analysis between periods. Right. He didn't even understand what the issue or the question was. But again, that's the mindset of today's high-skilled forward. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Nobody would have tried that, I don't think, when we played. And Valiquette actually talked. He said Colton Orr would have been over the boards, banging the boards, if somebody would have tried that in his day. Well, in our day, it was a little bit different, right? Like, you probably wouldn't have done that.
No,
but it's not our day. It doesn't matter what happened in our day. Nobody cares except us guys. It would not have happened in 1990.
Yeah.
But it happens in 2024. And that's just the way it is.
All right, back to the New Jersey Devils, and just how well this team is playing, Ray. I mean, Markstrom Monday night was terrific. So a little bit of credit to Tom Fitzgerald, who, it took longer than he would have preferred to shore up his goaltending, but he was patient in making the deal with the Calgary Flames to acquire Jacob Markstrom, and that's paid off. But it's given that group, good health has also given that group another layer of confidence. But I think you have to give credit to everybody, right? From the manager to making the decision that he had to make with his coach, to the hiring of Sheldon Keefe, who's a very detail-driven coach, to the execution of the players and the goaltending.
So it all starts with the guys that you assemble. As Patrick Waugh said in the past week, I coached the team that Lou gave me, which is really something. That's a whole other thing. We'll get into that on another headline.
Yes.
So Sheldon Keefe coaches a team that Tom Fitzgerald puts together. And the one thing I think was very evident over the last couple of years is the skill is obvious in New Jersey. The balance of size and skill is not there. And they went out and they target shopped size. They target shopped a little more grit. They hit, I'm going to call it a home run at this point. I don't even know what to call it beyond that. But when they bring in Kovacevic from Montreal, it's for a draft pick.
Yeah.
He's become one of their 6 defensemen. He's big. He's a little mean. They get Dougie Hamilton back all of a sudden from missing all of last year. all of a sudden their defense is completely different. Luke Hughes has taken an expected step. Like, their defense is better. Their offense is more well-rounded, more balanced. Meyer's probably a little more comfortable in there this year. They look like a different team. Like, they really do. But the skill is obvious. This is a very good team. And you can't be a very good team unless you have good goaltending. And now they have two options in goal. A year and a half ago, they didn't have any. And now they've got two. Fitzy's done a nice job there. And this is a good team. This is a really good team.
Off the top of the they're fun to watch, right? Yeah, and look, Fitzy's not done yet. I mean, no general manager is. And on his wish list is a bottom six center, more of a face-off sort of expert, if you will, or if he can find that piece. But, again, you're fine-tuning as long as you stay healthy. Off the top of the pod, we talked about the Minnesota Wild and Billy Guerin, who, again, will join us on Thursday, which will be a fun episode. It always is with Billy. He's just such a good storyteller. But, there's a lot going on with Team USA and Team Canada. The Four Nations will be unveiled tomorrow. But he made headlines on the weekend by acquiring 21-year-old defenseman David Jiricek and a fifth from the Columbus Blue Jackets for defenseman Damon Hunt, a first in 2025, a second in 27, a third via Colorado in 26, and a fourth originally from Toronto, also a 26 pick. I mean, that's a pretty big return. But I guess what confused me, Ray, initially in following up on all of this was, okay, you've got a 21-year-old right shot defenseman, 6'4", 205 pounds, sixth overall in 2022. Right. That's a boatload coming back. And Waddell can use those assets to acquire something else. Okay, I get it. It's a bit of a domino effect.
Right.
But you don't see 21-year-old right shot defenseman that high draft get traded this early in their careers.
No, pretty clearly what the vision in Columbus was for David Jiricek is not the same as David Jiricek's vision. And somewhere in there, that relationship soured. And a lot of that was before Don Waddell got there, as Jiricek was a draft pick of the previous administration. So, you got a mess on your hands. You got to clean it up, right? And I'm sure they don't necessarily want to trade a 21-year-old right shot D either. But if that's where the road takes you, then you do the best with it you can. And I like that. So now Minnesota's gone out and they've got Brock Faber, who came in a trade from, I believe, San Jose. And now you've got Jiricek. So if Jiricek pans to be a top four guy, like a second pair guy, the top four of their defense on the right side's locked in for a decade. Right? And they brought in Jake Middleton a couple of years ago. And
nice ads.
It's just one after another. This is another good team. Another really good team. And if I could give them one piece of advice, it would be lose the dark green uniforms and wear the Minnesota Wild or the Minnesota North Star colors.
Love that.
Those green and goals, they just jump off the page. And I'm big in marketing, as you know, Dregs. And
I like
huge, those jerseys. Yes. Oh yeah, huge. I don't know a thing. I love those jerseys. So that was that deal. Everybody was kind of nosing around it, right? Could we get in the deal? Do we have enough to get in the deal? And Minnesota paid a lot, but again, some of these draft picks are going to be, they're 5 and 6 and 7 years out before you even see the light of day with them.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. We've been teasing this. We started last Thursday. You were charged with a homework assignment to create a roster for Team Canada. Woo. It's a difficult one, right? Because there are so many good players across the world, not just for Team Canada or Team USA. And undoubtedly, there is going to be a lot of disappointed players when rosters are made official. And because we've got Billy Guerin on Thursday. We'll focus on Team USA on Thursday. So just for our fun and our Canadian fan base, where do you want to start? You want to start up front? You want to go with the 13 forwards? Okay.
Always the most important guys. Talk forwards first.
Okay, have at it. Let's hear what you got.
Well, okay. So let's not get hung up on the lines here or whatever. Because
no. Yeah.
So Marner, McDavid, and Reinhart. Any problem with those three?
No, all good.
Okay. Marchand, Crosby, Stone.
Very good. I no problem with it. No problem with it. And I love the idea of Mark Stone. I just wondered, again, given the talent pool that you're selecting from here, the health is always going to be back of mind for me. But man, he just gets it and knows how to win. So a bit of a surprise, but Stone,
I just think Mark Stone, he's so good in so many different areas. And you got to put a team together. You're not putting a bunch of guys in a skills contest. But
correct.
Back to the World Junior, Mark Stone was a scoring star. World Championship, Stone has had very good World Championship. I think you're going to need a penalty killer. You're going to need somebody that doesn't need a lot of ice time, because these guys aren't going to get 20 minutes of ice a game, right? You got a lot of players. Yeah. So anyway, I got him on my team. I've got Sam Bennett, Nate McKinnon, and Braden Point.
Yes.
Okay. So are we okay to get so far?
I think you're fine there. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think the lock of locks is Anthony Cirelli.
Why?
I have
just because of Cooper?
Yes, and he's penalty killer. He's a fourth line guy. He's a buzz energy guy. Canada has long loved players like this on their roster.
Yeah.
They really do. I think Travis Konechny. I have Travis Konechny on my roster.
Yeah.
So now those 11, I feel really good about.
I'm with you. So far we're in agreement.
My last two forwards are Adam Lowry and Brandon Hagel. And that leaves off, for me, Robert Thomas, Tom Wilson, and Mark Scheifele. But those are my 13 forwards.
I don't think Lowry and Scheifele are making the cut.
So then that gives that. If not, that gives me, out of my guys, that gives me Thomas and Konechny. If you're saying Scheifele and Lowry are out.
That's what I believe. But you already had Konechny on, so you've got to.
So it would be Wilson and Thomas then.
Okay. No Hagel.
Hagel's on.
Okay. Well,
that would give me 14 forwards.
Sorry, Robbie Thomas, you're out.
No, my fourth line is Hagel, Cirelli, Konechny.
Okay.
And then that gives me Wilson or Thomas as the 13th forward.
I didn't hear Zach Hyman in this equation.
You did not.
No, me neither.
And what worries me about Hyman, of course, it's about leaving him off, is how well, of course, he played last year with McDavid. The tournament's in 2 months.
Yeah.
And so I worry that you get to February and Hyman scoring every second game again. And then you're like, oh boy. But anyway, that's my picks for today.
Okay. No, but that's forwards. Now we got to look at defense, and then we'll, of course, end up with the goalies. What do you like on D?
Taves and Makar, Theodore and Pietrangelo.
Okay.
Morrissey and Tanev.
Okay.
And Travis Sanheim.
Well, how many is that? Is that 7, or how many have you got?
7.
Okay. All right.
How many do you want me to pick?
No, that's fine. So the locks for me going in, Makar, Morrissey, Pietrangelo, and Sanheim. But then you're right. It gets a little bit more dicey after that. I don't know how Shea Theodore can't. For me, he's on this team. Team. But as I'm sifting through yesterday and this morning prior to our taping, I got the sense that Pietrangelo and Stone from Vegas were on. And I didn't get clarification or confirmation of Theodore, which it could be an omission, Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I just can't imagine that blue line without Shea Theodore on it. I don't think Chris Tanev made it. I think Mitch Marner is the only Toronto Maple Leaf representing Canada.
So if Tanev isn't on it, does that mean that's Evan Bouchard?
What about Taves?
Oh, I've got Taves on there. Taves is playing with McCarr.
Okay.
Yep. I'd like to know you're listening. Taves, McCarr, Theodore, Pietrangelo, Morrissey. You tell me no Tanev, so I think Bouchard's probably next there for me.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Sanheim. Yeah. I think Tanev on this team is a terrific pick.
I hear you. Yeah, shot blocker, just steady Eddie, doesn't take
penalty
penalties.
Killer.
Yeah.
Right? Penalty killer. Don't tell me he doesn't have foot speed, because 33 of 32 teams wanted them on their team this offseason. And he's playing it. It's an NHL game against NHL players, and Tanev's one of the better defensive defensemen in the league. Okay. And I would have him on my team.
You know, what we always have to do, Ray, is, again, we're not going to know the official rosters until it's unveiled on the networks on Wednesday night. You know, you think about the guys that didn't make it too, right? And automatically a veteran player like John Tavares comes to mind, how hard he's played this year, how productive he's been this year. And, it's obviously about doing best for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But in the back of your mind, I'm sure that there were international teams where you went, you know what? Pretty good start. I feel like at worst have an outside chance. So you kind of feel for guys who aren't going to make it, but there's injury opportunity, right?
Sure. And he would be, these guys are aware, like, man, there's a pretty good group of guys here, and so you get squeezed out, and I'm sure there's going to be disappointment for a half a dozen guys that are probably really close. And, that's just kind of unfortunately, it's the way it is. And where it's so competitive, you're putting one team together and guys are going to get left off, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up Team Canada with the goalies. So you've got Bennington, Hill.
Yeah. I think that's easy.
Yeah. Is it?
Well, to that point. and then you're like, I don't know. There's Thompson, there's Fleury. See, I kind of like the Fleury thought, because a guy's not going to play probably, except if he had to go play. Is there anybody more equipped to come out of left field and play than Fleury?
No kidding.
Like, this would be a compelling argument for me for Fleury on the team. His energy, his positivity, his play this year when he's been in the net, and the fact that he doesn't seemingly feel pressure. Yeah. So if somebody dropped the ball and you had to go to him, I think he'd be like, yeah, let's go. But I think it's Logan Thompson as the third guy.
Feels that way, right? Yeah. Some time for Skinner, some time for Sam Montembeault for a variety of different reasons. But, you like the experience of Logan Thompson too,
Yeah.
I just think like it's championships.
If you get to your third goalie in 4 games, you've probably got a problem.
Well, I liked how Pierre LeBrun last week described that. Like, he was trying to make this case where, well, no, it's not really the third goalie. Well, yes, it is. Somebody has to be the third goalie here.
Someone's gonna be in a suit.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Raymond, those are your headlines. Well done. And thank you to our good friends at Tim Hortons.
Your favorite festive duo is back at Tim's. Try our new non-alcoholic Bailey's Dream Hot Chocolate. Enjoy our newly improved Bailey's Cream Coffee or the full lineup. Rediscover the classics you crave with a touch of holiday magic and non-alcoholic Bailey's at Tim's.
All right, time for Ask Ray and Dregs Anything, brought to you by Aecon. With over 150 years in the construction industry, Aecon is one of Canada's original leaders in heavy industrial contracting, and they're always looking for great people like you to join their team. So if you or someone you know is looking for work, go to aecon.com, Click Join Our Team to see all of the employment opportunities that are available now. Acon, building what matters to enable future generations to thrive. And look, there he is, Ryan Rashog with his cheaters on this morning.
Trying to look sharp. Trying to look sharp. I like it.
He's also muted himself, which is
the best when
huge rookie mistake.
Oh, boy. I had the microphone muted. Oh, man. This is not going to go well for me.
I'm not sure about your confidence, Ray, but this man is supposed to be running our empire here.
Dregs, we've had plenty of conversations about my feelings on the matter.
Let's not go there. Every time I make the tiniest little mistake, it's like I'm getting fired. Every single thing, I'm getting fired. I'm constantly in fear of getting fired.
Chipping away at the foundation, my friend.
We're, we've been talking to Randine, and she's got some ideas, and so I think we'll get it sorted. I don't know if you're part of them, but you'll have to take that up with her.
All right. So lots of great submissions for Ask Ray and Dregs this week. I want to start with this one, though, because we got lots of reaction to the gentleman a couple pods ago who was ripping us for some of the banter. And we got a nice one here from John LeBerge. Subjects on the podcast is the subject. Hi, Ray and Dregs and Ryan. Thanks for getting my name right. I just watched the last podcast where a listener didn't like when you drifted off serious hockey talk and had a little fun about everyday things. I had to stop playing hockey, mostly beer league, 6 years ago because I had 2 concussions in the last 3 years after over 50 years of playing this great game. What your various discussions remind me of is the locker room banter that I miss so much. Keep up the good work. A patient Habs fan in Montreal. John, was there one particular player that got picked on a lot in your locker room? Because I feel like I can identify with that guy.
Did you get picked on, Ryan?
Well, I was fine back then. Since I started doing this show, I feel like maybe I've become that presence in the locker room.
If we were talking about, maybe your puck handling ability was a target, or things like that. And I will tell you, when you leave and you don't play anymore, as this gentleman's talking about, there's the nonsense that gets talked about. It could be anything. A bad shirt. Heaven forbid you walk in with a bad haircut. Look out. And and that stuff in the adult world doesn't seem to fly quite so much. So guys talk nobody ever says, gee, I miss getting cross-checked in front of the net. They miss the guys. They miss hanging out in the room. And it's I love doing it. I mean, I love when we get into this nonsense. It's the best part.
Yeah, well, you guys are going to be shocked when I tell you this. Well, 2 things. I didn't play a high level of hockey, which I know shocks you guys. And 2, because I was always hoping and trying, I was quiet in the room. I didn't say a word. Because
I cannot believe that.
Well, only because I always felt like I had one skate out the door, man. I was on the cusp of getting cut. That was it. So I just stayed quiet as a church mouse.
Wow. Can we get that version of Darren Dreger on the pod moving forward, please and thank you. Next, we move on to Jesse Church. With the flourishing of Celebrini, Smith, Askarov, players like Zetterlund, Eklund, Toffoli producing, are the San Jose Sharks ahead of their projected rebuild timeline? Is it going faster maybe than some might have thought with the way it's looking, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about 2 weeks here or 3 weeks, right? It's been, I will say the Sharks are fun to watch. They're in that stage where it doesn't really matter if they give up a chance or 3, and they've got skill and they're exciting. And man, does Celebrini look like he's a player. He is fast and determined, and he can shoot. I'm really enjoying watching them play. Whatever their timeline is, I mean, the initial stages are going really good. We know that to get from A to B is pretty easy. To get from B to where you need to get to, that's pretty tough. And I wouldn't suspect that they're, around the corner, but man, their initial steps here have been really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, too small of a sample size for me as well. And I think it really does boil down to the last couple of weeks. I mean, first month of the regular season, this team was a tire fire and somewhat expected, right? So Mike Greer knows where they're at. And sure, he's going to try and improve his team with age-appropriate ads moving forward. But, this is all the development process, and winning is always more fun, especially for talented young stars like they've got building confidence there.
Okay, Josh the Zamboni guy coming to us on Twitter asking, the way the Canucks have been able to win games without key players, do you see them continuing the role they're on? Petey and DeBrusk are on fire. Demko back soon. Loving the show, guys. Thanks for all you do. From Josh the Zamboni guy.
I'm quite impressed with the way they've put points in the bank here. And last year I don't think they had a significant injury at all. Joshua broke his hand at one point. But they're, Kevin Lankinen makes $900,000. He's won 10 straight on the road. And you know what? And I laughed when I read, could you imagine where the Canucks would be without Garland and Lankinen? Well, you don't have to, because they're on the team. Guys are allowed to play well. And they've had amazing starts. Pettersson had a terrible first month. He's been really good since. DeBrusk didn't score a goal for 9 games. He's got 10 since. Besser's been back and doesn't have anything since he's been back. Joshua's working his way back from, the offseason cancer diagnosis and surgery and, whatever time it's going to take him. He's starting to look like he's coming. But now they lose Hronek, and it doesn't sound like it's short term. No. So there's lots to piece together in Vancouver. I'm really, as I said, I'm really quite impressed with how they've banked points. And then, of course, there's, I guess nobody really knows much about JT Miller and when he may return. And I mean, he's just not like a little part of the team. He's a major, major piece of the game.
What's impressed me the most is, and this is where management and the coaching staff deserve more of the credit. The market is what it is. Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, the Canadian markets. I mean, we in the media generate the storylines that creates the noise. And historically, the Vancouver Canucks are one of those teams that you could just tell that it would eat away inside that dressing room with certain players individually, especially. You don't get that as much anymore out of Vancouver. They've had more than their share of adversity, and beyond the injuries, we're talking about, Chris Drury calling the Vancouver Canucks, inquiring about the possibility of JT Miller. You've got the Höglander trade rumors, all of that, but it doesn't seem to matter. This team just fights through adversity and continues to get the job done. And I think that's a credit to Rick Tocchet and the management.
One thing we should mention, should be impossible to mention any success they've had without Quinn Hughes. And the start of the year that he's had. I mean, it's remarkable. The people in Vancouver are so lucky to watch that guy play on a daily basis. He is just an amazing player.
Okay, last one of the day comes to us via email. Michael Benelli says, what is the best pizza, gentlemen? Brooklyn, New York, Chicago, Detroit, or Toronto? And additionally, what's the best Italian food you go to in restaurants? I love baked Z over chicken parm, he says. I think we know the answer from Ray here, but Dregs, let's go to you.
Choice.
You have a
minor choice, baked ziti. Come on. You get chicken parm if it's done right. You get the pasta on the side. Are you kidding me? I had veal parm last night. I changed it up, but are you kidding me?
You just lit the fuse there. Chicken parm over baked ziti. Yeah. Real men don't order baked ziti.
What's yours, Dregs? What do you get?
Well, I'm going to go to the pizza, but you know what? City to city, I'm not a big pizza guy. Like I like pizza. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you don't have this frame without eating your share of pizza. But if when I'm in New York, Detroit, Toronto, Boston, I will give a shout out to Corrado's restaurant here in Brooklyn, Ontario. By far the best pizza I've had. By far. Not even close. So there you go.
I think
He's making the play for the local freebies here.
Oh, is he ever? Is that? Oh, why don't you just
Good
put
people.
the banner
Corrado,
behind you?
No, Corrado's a really nice man. Yeah.
I think I can eat as much pizza as anyone that I know. I love it. I love it. Thinner crust over thicker crust every time. Thick crust is like eating a loaf of bread with stuff jammed on top of it. I like the thinner crust. So deep dish Chicago, no, not for me.
No, me neither.
Need a little meat on it. I do like pineapple when it's on there. I like red peppers on there. But like olives and things like that don't belong on a pizza. Get rid of
You guys know the right. What was that, Dregs?
Hot peppers, like not jalapeno, but like
Nah, I'm not a. I don't like the. I can't. I don't take the hot stuff very well. It doesn't
Let
work
me
well
guess.
for me.
Let me guess. You start sweating.
Oh. as soon as it gets delivered, I break out into a sweat. Sweat tying my shoes.
You guys do know the right way to eat a piece of pizza, right? Everybody's doing it wrong, right?
You fold it.
No. That's That's caveman stuff. No. So if this is your piece of pizza and it's a triangle here, this is the tip of the piece. You go back corner of the crust first. Then you go other back corner of the crust and you take a little bit of pizza with it. So you're getting crust and pizza. And then that leaves you with 3 more quality bites, kind of working your way from the front in. So what you get is a much better mix of crust and pizza per bite, as opposed to people who just go front right in and end up with a chunk of crust that's left and useless.
What are you, Martha Stewart? And by the way, like Ryan also eats chicken wings with a knife and fork.
Not a knife, a fork. Chicken wings with a fork. It's an elevated. It's an elevated
you have
dining
totally
method.
moved yourself out of this conversation. I got another one for you here. By the way, when you peel a banana, how do you peel it? You think I'm kidding? How do you peel it?
Well, you go from the stem down.
No,
you break it. Watch the stem down.
Watch the monkeys. They open them from the bottom. They're the professionals. You open it from the bottom. They're the pros. I'm like, well, look how they. I saw this once. You pinch the bottom. The peel opens. You just peel it from the bottom.
I'm going to do that. I've never done that one time in my life.
That's how.
I guarantee if you threw a piece of pizza at a monkey, he would start with the crust first too. So there you go.
He would go, there's this idiot in Alberta that eats it from the back. I eat it point in. That's what the monkey would say.
I'll leave you with this last thought, and this has been Ask Ray and Dregs Anything, brought to you by our friends at Acon. The other one I eat with a fork and not stripping it all off, like forkful by forkful, corn on the cob. Good day, gentlemen.
I don't know. We're going to have to stop this segment with Rashog, I think, Ray.
It's an embarrassment.
Like, seriously.
That's an embarrassment. Seriously.
And but in his defense with the corn on the cob, it's the reason I like corn. I don't like the messiness of corn on the cob. I don't like it getting stuck in my teeth and rolling across and all that nonsense. That's why if you want corn, go to a nice steakhouse and order a side of corn. It comes in a bowl. You scoop it, you put it on your plate, and you eat like a gentleman. So,
okay.
There we go.
Sure. Okay. Try the banana. I'm telling you.
I'm going to try that banana. All right. So Boston tonight, Detroit, Boston being Tuesday night. And then rest of the week looks like what?
Fly to New York tomorrow. Seattle Islanders on Thursday. Pittsburgh Rangers on Friday. So that might be a little bit of a hornet's nest by Friday.
Could be. Yeah.
And so busy week, and then home Saturday, and then I think I got a game. Oh yeah, I got a game Tampa at Vancouver on Sunday afternoon.
Nice.
So busy week, but will be a good one.
It should be a good one. Billy Guerin on the Minnesota Wild will join us in our next episode on Thursday. I've got some stuff to do around the house and a couple of podcasts.
Lights up yet?
Oh, yeah, all that stuff is up. But Saturday morning, going to Manalapan, Palm Beach, Florida. That's where I'm
What are you doing there?
Well, we've got the Board of Governors meetings early next week.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, it'll be
I thought you were going to work on being husband of the year and take Holly on a little trip.
Holly is coming. She is making the trek.
So will this elevate your status after taking her on a date, one date in 22 years, the last 22 years, whatever it's been, and then you're take her to Florida? Good for you.
Yes. And back in the big league hotel here. We're not in the, inland whatever. I'm not going to name drop a hotel because I don't want to disrespect anyone, but we're back at the main resort, which is kind of a big deal.
Why do I think this took severe lobbying by Darren Dreger?
The playbook of Bob McKenzie. The shop steward was in fine form leading up to this trip. All right, buddy. Well, have a good week. Have a good game tonight, and we'll be checking in with Billy Guerin on Thursday.
Yeah, talk to everybody then. Thanks for listening, and we'll know our rosters. We'll see who's right and who's not.
Will. All right, Ray, thank you. And thank you to all our sponsors who continue to support Ray and Dregs and make this podcast possible. Our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey, Tim Hortons, and thank you to Acon. Have a great week. Enjoy all the news around the National Hockey League, and stay safe, everybody.